I'm Anthony Forrest, the president of Steel Cod, and I'm here with Jon Beresford, our VP of Sales, ready to discuss all things appliances.
Hey guys, welcome to the Steel Codcast. I'm Shannon here with John. Hey John.
Hi.
All right, so today we're going to jump into our weekend deep dive. And the topic at hand is why customers don't trust expert advice anymore. The expert being the salesperson, obviously.
Mhm.
And this is a big shift that we're hearing about and seeing across showrooms all over North America. And people are just have more information readily available to them. Obviously, the internet is in the palm of your hand these days. So, people get reviews, videos, Reddit threads, comparisons, opinions from everywhere, horror stories from everywhere. And theoretically, you would think a more informed customer would make for an easier conversation because people would come in kind of knowing what they want. And then you have the opportunity to kind of just guide them through the sale to make sure that's the actual right decision for them.
Mm.
They actually see, touch, and feel and like what they're setting out to buy. So instead of that, we're seeing that people are actually being met with more resistance now. Maybe because customers are coming in with information overload. There just seems to be more hesitation, more second guessing. And I feel like that's kind of across the board, just society in general. People are skeptical of authority. So we're starting to see that leak into all aspects of our life, including the showroom floor at appliance retailers. So, what is it exactly that we're seeing? We're seeing this pushback, and I'm curious, John, what do you think is really going on here?
Yeah, it's funny is, we ask for feedback all the time and things that they want on the episode. This one came up quite a bit and I was surprised because, Anthony and I in deep dives of the past, we've kind of danced around this one a little bit, right? We've kind of feathered it into other conversations that we had. But we kept on getting that feedback of, hey, like they wanted us to tackle this thing head on. Um, because I guess it can be confusing out there, right? Because this is one of those ones that it's not an information problem and it's not a knowledge problem or anything like that. It boils down to an ownership problem. And, this is, I think, probably where most people are missing it because they're almost trying to explain that behavior with the wrong lens, right? They're looking at a customer that's pushing back on them and they're thinking, all right, well, geez, they don't trust me, or they think they know more than me, or they're over researched like you were talking about, right? And I don't think that that's what's happening. In fact, I think that the answer here is probably a heck of a lot simpler, at the same time, I'll give it credit that it's probably a lot harder to deal with too. You have to realize that the second a customer follows your advice, right? They're giving up a lot at that point, right? Because it stops being their decision. And now the whole risk as a result of that shifts, right? Because now it's not, oh, geez, I made a bad choice here. It's, I followed this person, I followed somebody else into a bad decision for myself, right? And that can be a completely different feeling overall. And not every customer is comfortable with that. So, this isn't about really your trust disappearing as a salesperson or anything like that. I think it's really about how comfortable the customer is giving up ownership of that decision making process. And the second you're able to look at it in that way, I think the conversation and the feeling of that conversation is gonna feel better and change for you positively as a result.
So, what you're saying is that this isn't necessarily about getting the right answer, it's about how the customer comes to the conclusion in general. So, that's obviously gonna depend, or it's gonna, like, vary depending on the person and
Yeah.
their personality. So how much of this conversation is really about identifying who wants control versus who wants direction?
Yeah, you nailed it. I think that's exactly what this is. And, this is where, quite frankly, a lot of salespeople can get exposed, and maybe they are feeling exposed right now. And that's why we did get so much feedback on this one because they assume rightfully or wrongfully, I would say wrongfully, but I mean, they might see it a different way, is that everybody kind of wants the same thing when they come in to see them, right? And they don't. Yeah, sure. At the end of the day, they all want appliances in some way, shape, or form, but it's never good. The conversation is never going to be the same, right? The wants are never going to be the same, and the way that they get to those wants is never going to be the same, right? Some people are going to walk in and want you to take control of the situation, right? They're saying they walk in and they say, well, geez, I don't know enough about this. So just tell me what makes sense for me, right? And those customers are very easy to deal with, right? They just kind of relinquish control at the beginning and say, I don't know. Seems like you do. Walk me through it, right? That's great. But then you have a completely other group of people that are gonna walk in, and they don't want that answer handed to them the same way, right? They wanna feel like they arrived at that, and you were just a resource to help them get themselves there, right? And it's not because they don't value your input, it's because they need to feel like the decision was theirs. And if you miss that part of it, right? If you treat both of those customers that walk in, right? The A customer and the B customer, we'll call them. If you treat both of those customers the same way, you lose one of them immediately. That B customer, you are not going to be vibing with them at all, because the control driven customer, the B customer, it will start pushing back, and they should. And it has nothing to do with you being wrong, right? It's because you're taking the ownership away from them, and that's the piece that they want to keep for themselves. People don't just want a good outcome sometimes, right? They want to feel like they made the good outcome happen, or at least be a part of that process, because that's what they have to live with after, right? If they don't have a good process at the end of the day, they know that you're not living with it, right? They are. So they want more control um in that space, and you have to be cognizant enough to know which ones to give that to.
So when you do get a customer who wants to be in control of the sale like this, what happens when they rely too much on someone else's recommendation?
Yeah, I think the doubt in that particular case, I don't think it disappears. I think it really just kind of gets delayed, right, and pushed forward. And that's the part that I think a lot of salespeople struggle to see, because many times that's going to happen after the actual sale completes, which they're not a part of anymore, right? If a customer follows your recommendation, everything is going to seem fine in that moment, right? But then they get home, right? And now the questions are going to show up, right? Did I actually choose that thing, or did I just go with what they recommended, right? And then once a question like that just kind of sits there, you got to understand from a customer standpoint, it doesn't go away at that point, right? Now, every small issue that they deal with kind of feels bigger as a result, right? Every really unfamiliar feature that they come across on there now feels like it was wrong, like it wasn't built for them. And then every one of these hesitations that they have turns into, oh man, I knew I should have looked at something else. So, at that point, what does that person need? Well, they need reassurance, right? They need constant reassurance at that point because they don't trust the decision. In many cases, they almost feel like they borrowed it, if that makes sense. And I think that there's a real difference there. And this is why some customers are considered high maintenance after the sale, right? And it has nothing to do with really personality. It really boils down to that ownership aspect of this whole thing, right? They never felt like the decision was theirs to begin with. And now they're looking for you to kind of fill in those blanks and pick up the pieces so they can take that level of ownership back with them.
So when a customer comes in quoting research and stuff like that, that doesn't automatically mean that they understand the category either, though, even though they might want that control. So how should that be read or handled in the showroom?
Yeah. No, it's a good call out because this is a big misread. and this one's happening right now, right? Over and over again, right? A customer walks in quoting specs, reviews, YouTube videos, all the things. And then the salesperson thinks, well, all right, well, they think they're the expert here. No, they don't. That's a completely wrong thing to say, right? Or believe. The research that they're doing, trust me, it's not confidence. It's just a protection layer that they're trying to layer in for themselves, right? It's the customer saying, I don't wanna have to completely rely on you during this conversation, right? So what they're doing is they're trying to build in a buffer the only way that they know how, right? So they're bringing in this outside information so they don't feel like the decision is entirely dependent on your direction, right? It's not about being right, so you need to stop looking at it that way, right? It's really about them being able to stay in control as much as they can on their own purchase, right? And it's about the mistakes. It's this really boils down to kind of the mistakes that you make, right? In trying to fight that whole thing from happening, right? By correcting them or overriding them maybe, or just trying to prove them wrong in the conversation and it gets combative, right? All that does is push them deeper into their position and dig their heels in because now they feel like almost like they have to defend a position that quite frankly they weren't even really taking. You were assuming that they were taking that position. But trust me, if you back me into a corner like that, even if I didn't fully I wasn't really truly taking a position. If you back me into a corner and saying that I'm wrong in the process that I took to get to this point in the conversation, I'm going to defend it with my life, whether I had a position or not. I'm going to do it. So there are many people out there that are built the same way. So yeah, that's really where that comes from.
So when they push back or hesitate, it's not random then. It's caused.
Yeah, 100%. Because look, from a salesperson standpoint, you're doing the worst thing possible in that moment, right? Is really what you're trying to do is increase your control, right? Brass tacks it. That's really what's happening. And when you increase yours, obviously you're decreasing theirs. So, what does that feel like to a customer, right? It feels like you're trying to override them in a situation. Again, even if you're right, even if your explanation is perfect, it doesn't matter. Okay. Because the more you explain, the more you feel like they're losing ownership. So, what do? They're going to push back. They're going to question every little thing. They dig into their research even harder. They'll probably even pull out their phone and pull up the videos they were watching, right? They're going to slow the entire process down to a halt, and it has nothing to do with product. It has nothing to do with the argument. It has to do with control. And once that happens, you're not selling anymore. You're really just defending a stance that you took at that point, and nobody's getting anywhere at that point. It's completely counterproductive.
So how do you adjust in real time if you see yourself kind of heading down this path?
Yeah. I think that's really, I think, the entire miss in this whole point, right? Is that you really look, same approach, different people, right? Some customers need clarity, some need control. And if you give the wrong one to the wrong person, it's going to break immediately and you're going to know it, right? You're going to push too hard on a control driven customer, like we talked about, and they're going to resist. The counter to that is that you're going to hold back too much with a guidance driven customer and they're going to get lost. And the sad part of that, Shannon, is that most salespeople never really adjust to that, right? They run the same script over and over again every time. And that's why their results are constantly feeling inconsistent. It has nothing to do with the product conversation at all. It's really the mismatch in the way that you're trying to do it, right? So to answer your question, you know, you have to be able to read that customer early on. I know that's kind of a cop out answer, but that's really the answer, right? Listen to how they talk, right? Are they asking what do you recommend, or anything around that, right? Or are they saying, hey, I saw this and I read that, and what about this? When they start asking stuff like that, that's going to tell you everything, right? Because if they want if they want guidance, be direct with them. Here's what makes the most sense, and here's why it does, right? And if they want control, you have to be able to recognize that and then shift, right? Don't lead with answers with that customer. You have to almost guide them into finding them themselves, right? You can say, hey, listen, that's a really good point. Between these two, which direction are you leaning, right? Now they're participating in it, right? Now they're owning it. And your role at that point is really going to shift from the decision maker to really that decision guide through the whole thing. And that's really where the difference is. And I know that's a lot of nuance and things like that. It's something that you do have to practice to get better at, but it's really the only way. Identify who's in front of you with the level of questioning or statements that they're making, and then be able to pivot in that moment. I mean, I'm not asking you to be 10 different salespeople in the moment, right? We're talking about pick a direction. You're either in this camp or this camp. It really can be broken down into two camps. And there's nuance within them for sure, which you'll get better at as you go. But really, those are the two things. Identify which one we're dealing with in the moment and then handle it appropriately.
So what is trust now? What does that look like in the showroom when people are coming in like this?
Yeah. So, when we got asked to do this, there were different kind of versions of the same question, right? And a lot of it came down to salespeople thinking that the customer didn't think that they were right, with the answers that they were giving and those types of things. And you got to understand, and it's a good question. Trust is not, do they believe I'm right? Right? Trust in this particular circumstance, it's, do they feel comfortable with how the decision is being made? That's the part that you have to wrap your head around, right? Because you can be completely right and you can still lose the customer. I've seen it done 1,000 times with some really smart appliance salespeople that didn't understand the moment that they were in, right? If the process doesn't feel right to the customer in front of you, whether your information is right or not is irrelevant, right? Too much control from you is going to create resistance, and too much control from them is going to create confusion. And trust, to kind of put a bow on it, is really your responsibility to find the balance between those two things in real time. That's where the trust is going to come in. And look, the last point that I'll say on this is that not every customer distrusts expertise, okay? But there are a huge contingent of people, and it is growing every day, that will push back, okay? And you have to understand that that pushback is not them rejecting you and the information that you're providing. The pushback is they're protecting the ownership of their decision. And if you don't see it, you'll keep trying to explain your way through the resistance unsuccessfully. It will never work. Your job now in those moments is not just to be right, it's to understand how that particular customer needs to get to right, because that's the only way that you're actually going to be able to build trust in that process.
So we actually have another episode on this topic, similar to this topic, and I think it's called The Customer That Knows More Than You. And John kind of gets into identifying this person. I talk about how I have been this person.
Hmm.
So if you want more on this topic, check out that episode. And as always, let us know in the comments if you're experiencing this, if you agree with John, if you disagree with John. We want to hear from you. We want your suggestions from episodes. Like we said, this one is one that we've gotten a couple times from people. So we want to make sure that we address the topics that you guys are interested in hearing about. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on YouTube and on all the podcast platforms. So with that, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
We drop a new episode every day of the week, including weekends. Don't forget to rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.